So, folks, hey, you're listening to the Wrecking Crew Comedy Podcast with Mark Arts and
Vito D'Amico.
And I fucked up the intro. All right, that's fine.
I just went with it.
I don't know. I'm
Mark Arts and you're Vito D'Amico.
Yeah, and we're talking.
We're both high as fuck right now.
Yeah, you brought over a bunch of pastries, and it's great. I was on the treadmill, and then you come over and bring over these pastries, and
just fuck that up.
Yeah,
entirely.
so now I've got the shits. So this is a great way of introducing somebody, isn't it?
Yeah, there's nothing in that pastry that make you shit.
Folks, people say there's not enough color on this show, and I tell them, go fuck yourself. Okay, we've got. I watch them on. We're ripping everybody off of JD Kane's show. That's the point of this.
Yeah.
The point of this, JD is going to sit there and go, where did my guys go? Where's my crew?
Yeah.
I'm taking his crew apart. One by one.
Right.
And you know who he'll sit there and talk to?
We started at the top. We started with the funny guy.
Right. You know who he's going to talk to? He's going to end up with G-Man.
Yep.
He's going to end up, him and G-Man are going to end up hanging out. That's the goal. We've got a great guest tonight. Dragnauct Sylvas is here. Say hi, Dragnauct.
Hi, Dragnauct.
See? Funny man. Tell us now, I watch you on the Talking Shit Tuesday show that I'm a fan of, and I just ripped you right out of the middle of the show because that's stuff that we do where JD's going, where's Dragnauct? He fucked off. So I feel terrible about that, but I really appreciate your time. I think you're one of the funniest guys to watch because sometimes you're watching the show and you're going, oh shit, they're talking about fetuses and you'll come out with these great. You and Gus are pretty funny. You know who's not funny? No.
Trust me, we already know.
Yeah. We all know. We won't mention their name, but you know who you are. It's called Get High and watch as much porn as possible. Maybe you watch too much.
That could be.
But Drag, I love watching you. You'll go up against a Ronnie or people that don't know who Ronnie is. Somebody that, how can I describe it? Somebody that believes something that, you know, when he talks about the cell or he'll talk about, the molecular structure of something. And
he'll mention something in chemistry that very few people even know about,
right?
Unless they've actually cracked open a chemistry book, and so he'll kind of jargon bomb whoever he's talking to, and they have no choice other than to go, sure, and just agree with him. And so he relies on their kind of layman understanding of basic chemical reactions in order to kind of win arguments. But for those of us who have taken above the high school level of chemistry, we know he's full of shit. And so he kind of becomes upset.
Yeah, that's what I like about, because I would watch him and go, is he really, does he, I don't know, but, he makes it seem like he knows what he's talking about. And then you or Science Sam will rip him a new one. And it just, it's really enjoyable to watch.
It's super frustrating when you see somebody pull that shit and the person they're debating or arguing with doesn't have a response to it because it's completely off the fucking topic. Like William Lane Craig, I don't know if you ever saw him debate somebody. He comes out with this crazy math shit.
Right.
Like, I'm no scientist or mathematician, but he throws out some wacky shit. That,
you know what his game is? His game is when you debate somebody, ask as many questions in the sentence so you do not have enough time to come back with anything, right? Because it's a debate format. But where Dragnaught has as much time as he wants, where I remember one video you completely picked apart everything he was saying, and you have a background in all this stuff, right, Drag?
Yeah, I'm currently a biology student. I've been studying biology for many years now, especially during my service as a combat medic in the United States Army. Oh. So I had already been. You didn't know that, did you?
No, I did. I didn't know that. I was going to bring that up.
Well, I mean, it's a part of our curriculum to become combat medics, to be very familiar, with at least medical science. So from there, I've always, even before I joined, I had somewhat of an interest in biology. And so some of the things that I end up studying in my free time are more so tailored to some of Ronnie's arguments, but that kind of complements what I'm studying academically. So in the end, and I've told Ronnie this, it works out for me because all you're doing is edifying me and my knowledge to help me in my future endeavors.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the thing that no, I know that you have military. I remember some guy threatened or said something stupid to you, and you've never once, because you do look like you could literally break someone's neck quite easily. You're not a very angry, mean person, and you know how to use a gun. You know how to. I've seen you fillet a fish pretty easily. Yeah, that was great. So I'm thinking this is one guy I don't want to piss off, but if people, I don't want to be judgmental, but you just don't seem like, you seem like a very, I've never seen you angry. I've never seen you lose it on anybody. And you seem very, it's enjoyable because I'm sitting there, I know this guy's, he's been in the military. He knows what he's doing. He's seen some pretty brutal things. And you're very calm. Did the military teach you that, or have you just always had that type of, calm? I've had buddies in the military that come back that are completely fucked, and you just seem very relaxed and, calm.
Well, it's something I'll go into if someone asks. I try not to offer too much because it tends to really kill the mood. But I am disabled, and part of that is anxiety. Is depression. But for me, I was always a fairly laid back person. I've just kind of learned to deal with very, very strong emotions. The military did help tremendously and help stealing my nerves, and that. I know when something is causing me to have some type of visceral reaction. So you'll see me get passionate at times, but you'll probably never see me actually get angry because that limit that I can reach, I will shut off my computer and walk away.
Oh, that's good.
I don't think there's anything that anyone can say on Google Plus to get me to that point, honestly.
Yeah, that's the opposite of me. I've actually gone to people's houses.
Yeah.
Literally gone to their houses to beat them up. If they said something to me on Facebook, I'm like, okay, where's this fucking guy live? Let's get in the car. Remember that one time my sister wouldn't give me the keys of the car, and I was going to go kill this guy.
Hold on. I got to tell this a little bit first. Vito calls me. I think I was camping.
Oh, yeah.
Vito calls me and says, hey, I made the paper. So I'm thinking, hey, the show got on the news or something he's doing some stand-up for got on the news. No, it wasn't that at all. Tell him what it was, Vito.
Oh, I ended up beating some guy out front here, but it was like he was following my sister who picked up my kids. It did make the paper. He was following my kids, what pissed me off with my sister in the car, and it was a road rage kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he followed my sister from the mall, and she called me freaking out, and I was fucking my wife when she called, right?
Because the kids are out of the house.
Right. So exactly, right? So when she called, and I thought it was a joke, but she said this guy is following me. He keeps threatening me, and he was trying to hit me with the car, and I thought my kids are in the car. I said, come home. And luckily, I wasn't thinking that straight because I had a hard-on and a half. But I keep a Boeing knife, like a big, it's about a 12-inch knife in the garage. If I grabbed that, I would have filleted this guy. What I did was I went outside and just beat the shit out of them out front when they pulled up. And that's how I made the paper. There were like 15 cops here. It was a mess. But yeah, it's a wonderful story. Never follow somebody. I mean, Drag, you do the same thing. If somebody was following your kid and your wife or girlfriend called you and said, I got a maniac following me, what are you going to say? You're gonna say, pull over, talk to him, or come home and let me talk to them,
Oh, I think that, even though it turned out really bad somewhat bad for you, I'd have done the same thing. That's one of the things. Those are my soft points. My wife and my child.
Right.
Those
exactly.
Are two things you don't mess with. Anybody can say anything they want to me, but the second you bring them in your crosshairs, you will see another side of me that is trained to kill. And don't get me wrong, I will tell folks that I have fought men who have killed other men. That is how you gain respect in the infantry. When you are among them, you have to fight them. And so that is something that I took too much pleasure in. And so I've kind of removed myself from that scenario.
And, I haven't done that, but I tell people I did.
Yeah.
You know, I'll totally lie about it. And I'll go, I did time. I don't give a shit. I've killed several men. I've hurt them really bad. Like there's a big joke where I beat up old people because that day I ended up beating an old guy at a gas station. I had to take off because I had an appointment. And the guy was there saying, "What do you want me to do?" And I said, "Just tell the cop." I gave him my card and I said, "Just tell the cop he dealt with me 2 hours earlier. It's Vito D'Amico." You know,
this is what he does.
Yeah. This is what I do. I hand out cards. I beat up old people and psycho, losers that follow kids. So, yeah. So, if people don't know that Dragnauct you're an atheist, right?
Yes.
And you really know your shit. How do you go up against and people that don't know? Yeah, you're Mexican, right?
No, not Mexican.
Oh,
not
I'm
yet,
sorry.
Not yet.
Not yet. But it
you can change that.
But the cool thing about drag is you always see a white atheist guy. That's all you ever see. And then when I saw JD's show, I thought he would be you assume, you just sit there and go, he would be a total Christian fighting guy. And drag was totally the opposite. He was just like, no, I read it. I know what it means. This is what it means. And he took his time and he'd explain it. You just go, fuck, he gets it. He's not sheep, as I like to call it.
So what's your background? Were you religious originally?
I was actually raised a Christian. My mother wanted to instill within all of her children the idea of morality and integrity, and all the good moral aspects that you would want to, I guess, instill within young children. And her method to do that was using religion, specifically Christianity, her version of Protestant Christianity. Right. And there just were so many instances of me acknowledging that I am too much of a skeptic to have, a strong religious belief. And this is funny. It culminated after high school. After I had been through Hurricane Katrina, lost everything that I owned, was lucky enough to have an aunt that allowed me to stay with her son and finish high school in North Carolina, come back, and went on Yahoo Answers, because I don't know how the fuck I got there, but there are so many evil atheists out there saying so many blasphemous things against God. And there's one person, I don't know who this person was, but I thanked them for my deconversion, because he said, you don't even know why you believe. You were probably raised to believe what you believe, and you've never actually sat down and thought about it. Yeah. And he was right. I have no clue to this day who that guy was. And I wanted to get up and go grab a Bible and prove him wrong, and I'm like, I don't believe this shit, and I just dropped it.
Right.
That was it.
Please don't tell me it was Matt Slick. Fuck. That would kill me. That would literally kill me.
Oh no, I've spoken to Matt Slick. No, it wasn't him.
Have you had dealings with him?
Yeah, I've spoken to Matt Slick a few times, actually. I want to say about 5 or 6 times.
Shit,
but it's always offline hangouts. So,
okay.
There is one where he and I first meet, and it's on Nadia Chambers' channel, if you know who that is.
Yeah.
And it was way back when. It was like a few months ago, and he made certain assertions that I found really funny, because it wasn't along his lines, because he liked to stay in philosophy and theology, and he kind of started delving a little bit into science, and he made certain, I can't remember what it was, but I slowly tugged his chain every time he'd make a wrong assertion and ask him to explain it, then I'd correct him. And so we did that for about 5 or 6 times, and then he started saying that I was desperate and that I was nervous, and I told him, I said, well, look, little man, after serving in the United States military, some Yahoo on the internet across thousands of miles is not going to make me nervous. And then so that was the end of that.
Yeah, that's right. And do you think he's dishonest? I think he's dishonest. I think he purposely he'll play a word game with you instead of just having a full conversation.
Yeah, he seems more interested in arguing than he does in proving anything or
Well, he just seems like a child.
I'll tell you from my experience, the last conversation I had with him, he was going over his disjunctive syllogism, and I was writing it down. I thought it was very interesting, but he admitted in that hangout several times that what he says, he calls it a trap. He specifically referred to it as a trap. He's not actually trying to have a cordial conversation, a back and forth. He's trying to trap you into a certain, I guess, category. He's trying to pigeonhole his opponent into an area where he can attack them easier. So anytime someone's dealing with them, you need to realize that he's not there to be charitable. He is there only to score points and to make himself and his organization look better.
Yeah,
right.
He tries really hard to make sure you answer the question exactly the way he wants you to answer it.
But he'll like just say like I'll watch a debate that he does afterwards, and I'll watch it a couple times, and he, I'm sure he walks away thinking he did well, but after you watch it, you realize he didn't make he looked bad. He didn't look like, I don't know who would sit there and go, like he might have won an argument with you going back and forth about something stupid, but the meat of the argument he lost, because what I notice is he'll say something like, I didn't say that, but he did say that, and then you end up having an argument about what you said that you didn't say, and I end up going, this guy's giving me a fucking migraine. It's like he purposely will derail a conversation where the meat of the argument gets lost because you've been arguing for 20 minutes about a fucking word.
Yeah.
That you didn't say. Or you said it a different way.
Are you going to answer the question?
He says, do you know what a category error is? What does that mean?
Yeah, it's a derailing tactic, honestly. And if you listen to him long enough, you'll notice that he'll look for little things like that to kind of bring up in order to move away from something he feels uncomfortable from. Anytime you'll hear him hesitate for probably more than 3 to 4 seconds, he'll find a way to move away from it because he knows it's making him look bad. And it's actually a fairly common tactic on Google Plus. Other DS have picked it up, and it's somewhat effective for him. And so what I like to do is I like to help other atheists and skeptics and so on and so forth and non-fundies to show them that people have tells. Somebody like Tommy Hall, for instance, guy, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but he has a very interesting tell because he's always in the same large black computer chair. When he's nervous, he shakes his foot so fast that the chair in the back of it, you can see it going back and forth very rapidly.
So never play poker with Dragnauct. This is like This is what exactly poker players.
I think he's onto something. I think.
Yeah, he knows.
TSN. Well, I used to be a security guard at a casino, so.
Yeah, me too.
See, maybe they should do the Google Hangouts.
No, you do. You do pick up, like, people think security guards are numbnuts, but once you have to, you realize the job that you're in, you do pick up on people's habits and stuff, you have to.
They should instead of poker on the sports network, they should do Google like a hangout with all these or a debate with these numbnuts.
But
they'd all start wearing shades and hoodies and stuff.
Well, they do now. A lot of these guys will wear sunglasses while they're talking because they don't want you to see if they got a nervous twitch or. I totally agree with you, Drag. He'll do stuff like that. You know of a Brett Keene guy, right?
Oh God, yeah. I'm familiar. I used to go into his hangouts once upon a time, and entertain him.
Is that guy? I don't understand. He was a Christian, or he was an atheist, and then he changed to Christian and explains to everybody how wrong he was when he was a Christian. Is that what he does, or is he an atheist? Like, I don't get. Like, I watched a couple videos, and it seems like he used to be. He's an atheist now. I mean, he's a Christian now, and he explains how atheism was wrong.
Yeah, he uses it toward his advantage. He used to be a very prominent atheist in the early days of YouTube. In fact, I want to say the Amazing Atheist, TJ, used to kind of look up to him, and don't quote me on that, but I'm paraphrasing, that he was somebody to contend with in the early days, but at his core, he seems to be, at least to me, to be a grifter. Like, he is this man is simply out to get people to give him money.
Yeah, that's what I get. Yeah.
Yeah, and he'll say, back when I was an atheist, I used to think this, and I'm pretty sure that's what you believe. And he's a fan of the loaded fucking question.
He seems like the type of guy that just will do anything not to work. He's constantly asking for coin.
I think it's the same. I think it's just exactly like Peter Hitchens, Christopher Hitchens' brother.
Yeah.
He's full of shit. Like that guy.
I don't follow Peter Hitchens at all because I saw him in a debate with his own brother, and I just thought that is fucked.
He's obviously trying to ride on his brother's coattails, like Keith Gretzky all the way.
Do you know they don't talk? They didn't talk for the longest time. I think they talked at the end. They always talk when it's time to go.
Yeah.
But when they were healthy, Hitchens thought his brother was an idiot. Like Christopher thought Peter was a fucking moron.
He's just fucking annoying, and he's taking the opposite stance. Just so that he can go and tour and lecture and shit like that.
Right. So, yeah, we should beat the shit out of him, too.
Yes.
So, Brett Keene, have you had dealings with him, Drag?
Oh, yeah. I've had dealings with him in the past. Recently, I saw that he's uploaded a new video where he's clearly outlining, quote unquote, what you can and cannot criticize him on because he is doing some type of copyright something or other. And the things that you cannot mention are his supposed homosexuality, his physical relationship with his wife, Dawn, and you cannot mention anything about his children, which is funny because I've never heard anyone say anything about his children other than him.
Right.
So he is back for like the 15th time, and he's, I guess, going to start his own channels again in the Brett Keene Hollywood Radio, whatever or other. And so I was actually thinking about making a video welcoming him back and, saying welcome back to the fold, and I am going to criticize you, and you can cry about it all day.
Cool. Because, wait, is he a homosexual?
I think people just say that because they've never seen him stand up. So I think there's some kind of joke in there somewhere. But
because that would, if I was gay, not that if somebody paid enough, I would. But if I was gay, I'd be offended if somebody called him gay and I was gay, because I'd be like, he is an ugly fucking dude. You know what I mean? Like, he's not well kept.
They're not all good looking.
No, there are gay guys will take care of them. Like most gay guys will take care of their hair. If they go on, like if you know you're gonna get a hair, like how I get freaked out when I'm like, how's my hair look? If I'm ready to go on stage, I'm like, how do I look? Do I look all right? And you're like, you look great. If you said your hair looks fucked up, that ruins me.
Yeah, it does look fantastic. But
see.
But the thing is, it seems to me that it either goes completely one way or the other.
Yeah, but Brett Keene looks like he's never touched a treadmill. Like he's never physically done anything. He looks like he looks like Jabba the Hutt.
All I'm saying is that does not make it definite that he's not gay.
Well, I think
that's all I'm saying.
Like a guy like him. No, I don't want to. If he enjoys sucking dick, suck as many dicks as you want, man. Yeah. You should be proud of being gay.
Dicks. Whatever it takes to win.
Like, Drag, if somebody offered you $1 million to suck a dick, would you suck a dick?
Oh, I can, for the $1 million, I can buy a new mouth. Oh yeah, I'm sucking that dick.
Drag, line up. I would have a lineup. I'd be like $1 million a dick. Line up, boys and girls. Well, not boys and girls, but line up, gentlemen. We're gonna have a fucking.
See, I've known you a long time.
We're gonna. I don't care. It's $1 million. I could spit
every day.
So, I wouldn't do it for like $5. You know that.
No.
But Brett Keene would. Well, he totally would. That guy, I know for a fact he would. He's just anything about with money.
He'd pay $1 million.
And he said, "Don't talk about his wife." I'm amazed that he's got a wife. He has a wife.
I haven't seen her, but from what I've been told that
haven't
she's
seen
no
her.
beauty queen herself, but she hasn't said anything to me. So I try to keep folks out of it.
It's a blow up. It's a blow up doll. It's not a fucking wife.
If you're not allowed to talk about her, it's a blow up doll.
Yeah, if you're not, it's like Norm from was it Cheers? Nobody saw the wife.
But she got a face like a can of smashed assholes.
But you know what pissed me off? You know what I would do if I was him though?
What?
I would totally get like a good looking hooker.
Yeah.
And have her like pretend it was my wife,
just put it on Facebook and stuff?
No, like I would have her come into the Google Hangout and go, "Hi, everybody, meet LaQuisha." You know what I mean? And she would just be absolutely fucking gorgeous.
Right.
And I'd be like, "Sweetie, you just kiss me on the lips. Just don't give me herpes. Just kiss me on the lips."
Right.
You know what I mean? And everybody would freak out. It would be like, a good looking, like you ever see like an ugly dude with a good-looking chick,
right?
And they walk over and they get into a vet,
Yeah.
And you realize why the good-looking chick is there.
Sure.
That would be like a Brett Keene if he had money.
Right.
Because you know for a fact he'd have to pay for shit like that. You can't. You know what I mean? Like I know I'm good looking.
So what's with the restriction on talking about his wife?
Because he doesn't have a wife. It's a deflection kind of thing.
You think so?
Oh, totally. He doesn't have a wife. Fuck, if he had a wife, he would at least, you could look this shit up.
Is that his real name?
Brett Keene? Oh, yeah. And then having kids, again, he probably would rent out kids or something. Like, there's no way this guy would have kids. There's no way.
Have you seen his Patreon channel?
So people pay him?
Yeah, there people at some point. I think they were giving him up to like maybe $9-10 a month for his videos, and he has a really funny list. If you look on the actually, let me see if I can pull it up right now, because I have a Patreon too, but there's a secret that's not so much a secret of what I actually do with my Patreon money. If there's charities and stuff like that, such as the stuff that's going on in Flint, I actually take my Patreon money and I'll donate it to charities. So
yeah, that's cool. And yeah, for sure. Like somebody like Dragnauct, he's on YouTube. He's got enjoyable videos. And yeah, for sure, Patreon him. Don't fucking Patreon a fucking Brett Keene, fucking loser.
I don't want to change the topic too much, but I just the Flint thing. I was reminded that they just banned butt sex.
What?
Yeah. They're talking.
You hear that, Brett?
Did you hear that in Michigan? They're talking about.
Oh yeah, the sodomy laws.
Yeah. Because
what?
I mean, the water is brown, but don't worry about it. That's not the brown we're worried about. We're worried about the butt sex.
You can't outlaw that.
Well, I don't know how they're going to enforce it, but that's the plan.
But I thought it's okay to be gay, right? Like law-wise. It's not like in like 20 years ago you get arrested, right?
They're Republicans, so that I don't know.
Wait, are they going to do that law, or is it law?
I think they made it law, didn't they? Did they?
I want to say they actually made it law. I'm not sure how it's going to be enforced or what, but I want to say they made it law, and I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, the priorities, right?
Yeah, right. Brown water.
I didn't know that. I thought that that was done. Like you could totally screw a guy as long as you don't do it in a park in front of kids. It's just do it at your home. Like, but I didn't know they did that.
Yeah.
Holy
you can be gay, just don't do gay stuff.
Right.
Did you have gay guys in the army?
Oh yeah. I had a guy in my platoon, as a matter of fact. I think his name was Reyes. Yeah, everyone knew he was gay. I mean, the whole "don't ask, don't tell" thing. I can tell you what I was doing when that was passed and when it made news. So I was in the gym. It was in the morning, doing my morning PT, and I looked up at the screen up there and said, the United States Armed Forces now have repealed "don't ask, don't tell." You can be openly gay in the military. And I looked at another service member and I kept walking. Like it really had no impact.
Big fucking deal.
But could you tell? Like, would he clean his gun differently? Would was his shit always neat? Like what was he like? Was he like, drag? Just wait. Like when you jump out of the tank, just wait. Just nobody wants to hold my hand. Like. I don't.
He wasn't flamboyant, but it was kind of obvious. He did have a little bit of a lisp.
Oh, I love it.
See,
I love it.
Didn't talk about his personal life that much, but yeah, I mean, people knew I knew he was gay when we have something called CQ, charge of quarters, where you have to stay up for 24 hours and go sit in the barracks to make sure nothing fucking stupid happens, because people do stupid stuff after they get off of work. Right. And he came down. He was like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "No, nothing much, man." So he came down. He said, "Hey, I'm going to show you something." And
oh, jeez.
Like, so he brought over his phone. I'm like, "Okay, what's this?" And so there's just pictures of him just kind of posing. And he's like, "Oh, I took this when I was kind of bored." And he flips to another picture, and it was another pose. He's like, "Yeah, I was feeling goofy."
You know what he's doing?
Another picture. It was like 18 pictures like this. And I was like, "Man, that's really cool, man."
Yeah. And if you said your triceps look awesome, he would have totally got a semi. He would have been like, maybe drag's a little gay too.
So that's what you do.
Well,
of
course.
Show pictures of yourself. See,
no, I don't. I'm not gay. But if I was, I would totally.
But even if trying to meet a girl, like I would. I mean, I'm happily married, but if I was to show pictures of myself posing to a random chick, I don't know whether she'd throw up or punch me in the dink.
But it's like if we're hanging out, like I'm sure Drag was with him for a couple of months, right? And then he feels comfortable around him, where he would sit there and go, "Hey, look at this photo or whatever of me." I'm sure the guy, I mean, you'd have to be incredibly brave to be gay in the Army. Yeah. I mean, they would fucking kick the shit out of you if you were to.
Drag, do you think there's a stigma for the enemy to be killed by a gay dude?
Sure, I'd be pissed off.
There probably is. There is some type of, and it's a religious thing for a lot of them. They can't be killed by a woman, or they won't go to whatever it is the fuck they believe in. I think those Kurdish women that were being used as like foot soldiers, and so they're running from the Kurdish women. So it might be the same thing for gay guys.
That's great.
And that is. Could you imagine being in ISIS and they're like, oh, the American Army is coming over, and you're like, oh, what platoon? You're like, the San Francisco cocksuckers. The what? The Kansas City faggots. What? Who? You get the panic. Could you imagine the panic?
Just send every fucking women's softball team over.
Yeah,
there.
just all the dykes, just all the rug munchers are coming, and just what? Huh? Just all you hear is sphincters closing.
The terror. That's scary.
Oh, yeah. So that's what we got to do. See, for me, my idea, and I want your opinion, tell me what you think, Drag. I would send a military plane over full of hookers and just drop them. Not like, they need a parachute, of course. I wouldn't just drop them, but they need a parachute. And I would just, because I think those guys need to get laid. I really do. I think that they don't get, sex.
They don't, but they don't, and they do, and it's sad. And not a lot of people know this, but if you look up what a chai boy is,
a what?
It's a chai boy, CHAI, chai boy.
I just wrote that down, and it comes out Brett Keene.
Well, it's just smaller, but they train young boys and they use them as servants, and they come and they bring them tea and chai, and they also double as like sex slaves.
No,
so it's unfortunate, but you and if you're in a meeting and with someone and you get very familiar with them, like a local tribal leader, he'll offer you a chai boy because it's customary. Like you might offer your neighbor a cup of sugar.
Right.
Well, here's a young boy. And that's acceptable, and it's sickening.
It is sickening.
It's sad, but it really does happen.
There's fucking nothing funny about that. That is absolutely disgusting.
I think
poor kid.
Since they're into that sort of thing, couldn't you dress up some fucking priests that have been buggering kids here and send them over there? And
no, they want young kids. They're fucked in the head, man. Like, you got to be completely out of your fucking mind to
Jesus
even.
Christ.
I don't get. Here's the thing. Do they not get? Like, we can do comedy. We could make fun of shit. Drag. We could totally make fun of Jesus. We could make fun of. But over there, if you make fun of Allah, you're a dead man. So, do you think that comedy-wise, because you don't hear a lot of big comics coming out of the Middle East, but do you think comic-wise, they're, like I read today, ancient Rome, they used to have comedy. Like, even their toilets would have something written on it saying, don't let the monster from the deep grab your ass, your culo in Italian, in Latin. Don't let and it was kind of like a joke, like where you take a dump around everybody, you kind of, it was an open toilet, everybody would take a dump, and it was kind of like an open joke to say, don't let the monster bite your ass, and it was kind of, they would joke, and I've never heard Middle Eastern joke, like anything where they would kind of go, hey, like two camels walk into a bar. There was no joke, there was no real, it was like kind of, hey, it's this way, you don't laugh. You know what I mean? Like, are they missing comedy or something?
Well, for me, I was personally never deployed. I've only worked alongside nationals because I was primarily stationed at the National Training Center in Fort Irwin, California. So they have humor because I've heard them laugh a few times, but the stuff that they laugh at, I couldn't really tell you because there was such a break in communication and things would get lost in translation. So stuff that they would be laughing at and I guess enjoying, is completely lost unto us, honestly.
Yeah.
And we kind of kept our distance anyway. So the humor, the stuff that we would find funny, they probably wouldn't. It would be, I guess, two camels fucking and making some other guy jealous because he was supposed to be fucking a camel. I honestly don't know.
I worked with a bunch of Middle Eastern guys, and they were like, what they found funny. I remember sitting around. This is years ago, like at a car wash, like 20 years ago, and the one guy was talking about him coming home, and the wife made a bad meal for company, and he beat the shit out of her, and they all started laughing.
Huh.
And I remember sitting there going, what the fuck is so funny about that? Like, that's...
Yeah.
Like, I love a raunchy, dirty joke, but I just thought he was being serious. Like, he beat the shit out of his wife because she made a horrible meal that wasn't up to standards, and they all laughed about that. And I thought, how is that funny? You know, like, how do you guys find that? I didn't know how to take it. I just thought, like, am I something wrong with me? You guys thought that was funny, and it's like their comedy is very different from ours. That's kind of what I get out of it. Like, you wouldn't dare say
not real subtle. Not a lot of nuance in that comedy.
Like like I invited one guy over the house for lunch because I could walk home for lunch. Really sweet guy, really nice. He knew I had a big Rottweiler, right? And he's like, is your dog there? And I said, no, I could put it outside when we go in. He goes, yeah, I can't touch the dog. And I just thought, oh, he's allergic. He must be allergic to dogs. But, and then he's like, is your wife home? And I said, yeah. No, she wasn't. He goes, okay, good. And I'm like, why would you, who cares? Like, don't worry. He goes, no, I wouldn't come into your house without you unless your wife was in there. And I go, okay, that's nice, but nothing's going to happen, dude. Like, don't worry about it. And he's like, no, it would just be not really cool. I get that part of it, but he wouldn't, like, my wife came home, opened up the door, and the dog came in. That's a big ass Rottweiler. And he's like, no, I can't touch that. And I just, for the longest time, I thought, oh shit, he's allergic. But I guess they don't like dogs or something.
What do you know about that, Drag?
Well, I know only so much about their culture. You have to take a certain course before you are able to actually go into the training area, and you do learn quite a bit about culture in the Middle East and a bit about the language. But for me, from what I understand, is that they deem certain things and certain scenarios as filthy. Right. And so, an animal would be a flea-bitten animal. Quite obviously, would be something that they wouldn't want to touch. There's also something with you have to shake their hand. I think with your left hand because they wipe their ass with their right hand. So a lot of us will shake someone's hand with their right hand, and they'll recoil because they think that, hey, you wipe your ass with your hand and you would have touched me with it. So
right, like no one's heard of
different culture.
Yeah, I do a lot of things with both hands, and once they're clean, it's not a big deal.
That is gross, though. Like if you think about it,
that one thing.
Like I like the ancient Roman way where you actually you touch each other's wrists. Like it's a wrist thing, but if you think about it, it is kind of gross. Like. Fucking, if you don't know somebody.
Well, every hand you shake has had a dick in it at one time or other.
No, I know, but if you think about it, yeah, it is kind of gross. I understand that part of it, but like the last, what was it, couple hundred years, we've come up with soap.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't like just grab a palm tree and, go, oh shit, I got some shit on my hand. We're not going to, let me shake hands with the other hand. Here, let's play footsies. I mean, there's soap now. Don't you find it, Drag, that it's different? Sorry, what they're talking about from the Bible, it doesn't, what was it, 3,000 years ago, it's, things have changed. Like I had a Jehovah Witness guy here 2 weeks ago, and he was telling me they don't do blood transfusions. No, and because in the Bible it said don't do that sort of thing. And I just thought, but back then they never even had that technology. They didn't know that you can do blood transfusion. Remember when Jesus said don't wash your hands. You don't need to wash your hands. And anybody with that you should wash your hands. That's how we don't get germs. So stuff that relates, that's when you're talking to evangelical people that will say, yeah, this is what the Bible means, or this is what it means. It doesn't, it doesn't come up to our time like that. I understand if you were 2,000 years ago, the golden rule is cool, but the golden rule is common sense.
Yeah.
Is that what you get, Drag? Like that, what they talk about from the Bible is sometimes, half the stuff, like science-wise, there is absolutely no science in there,
Well, there's some funny science in there, especially when it comes to breeding certain animals. I think there's and someone will probably send me a message or something when they hear it, but there's some type of story about breeding animals in front of some branch in order to make it have stripes or spots or something or other. Oh, yeah. And it's so bizarre. It has nothing to do with, actually the genetics of the animal, but that's what they thought because they were primitive. And so there's an interesting line that I bring up to Christians who think that who are biblical literalists, and this thing it only works with biblical literalists, is that they say that Adam is created from the dust of the earth. Now I actually went to the original translation, and the word used is afar. Afar literally translates to dirt from the ground. Right. So we know from science that the earth's crust is made up of primarily 90% of a compound known as silicon dioxide, and that's two elements, silicone and oxygen. Our bodies aren't silicone-based. They're carbon-based. Carbon makes up, I want to say, less than 10% of the Earth's crust. So for Adam to literally been created out of a substance that was not abundant is highly unlikely. Now, mind you, we do have silicone in our body, but in very minute amounts. And so it's something that I bring up to people who are biblical literalists because they don't really know a lot of science. They just kind of take it on faith. And so I just simply ask them, we know this in science, and I've gotten all types of answers. I mean, they will literally make up shit on the spot. And I'm not even exaggerating. They will make up shit. One good example is a guy named Nephilim Free. He's been on YouTube for fucking ever. Yeah. And he has a theory about, we call it the lunar bukkake theory, where he believes that the Noah flood actually occurred from fountains of the deep rising up out of the pores in the earth and being so far that it's been able to, bukkake the moon. Oh, yeah. And so I've explained to him that there's this thing called enthalpy where you get the total heat of a reaction and you can find out how many joules of energy it actually takes, for it to do what it needs to do. Yeah. And so myself and Fiona Robertson, who is a Catholic and who has a PhD in microbiology, sat there and agreed with what I was saying, is that if all the energy that it would take to force all that water to flood the earth would have actually cooked everything on the earth's surface. Okay. Literally. And so he didn't understand what enthalpy was because he had never taken a fucking biology class in his life or chemistry. And he said, well, to answer that, they were also going through an ice age. And I just lost my shit.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
You win. Fine. Okay.
Well, that's at least that takes a little bit of creativity. I think normally the default answer is, well, with God, everything is possible.
Yeah, they'll it's what I call element 119, hand wavium. They'll fucking hand wave whatever it is away and just say God did it.
Yeah, but Neslim, if you really look at what he's saying, he is nuts. You can't just sit there and go, yeah, he's got a point. I mean, I'll watch him talk and I'll go, you are completely out of your fucking mind. I saw Aaron Ra take him on and just absolutely slaughter him. And I just thought, well, don't you know people are going to ask questions? Like, what? Yeah. Like, don't you know? Like, you can't just go on there and just think. It's like me talking to you about chemistry or military stuff when I haven't even been there.
It's the arrogance that comes with the blind faith. That's the only thing that you can have to be arrogant about that doesn't take any knowledge, skill, or talent or anything.
Well, that's where I see. Like, what do you think of Rocket Ronnie? Do you think he knows his stuff, or does he make up this stuff, or he knows very little? And because What is easy? G-Man's kind of there's an
G-Man is described him as his science guy.
That's science guy.
Moniker. Yeah, the science guy, and Ronnie has the intelligent design argument, and atheists still haven't been able to refute that, and I just laugh, and I'm like, you can't even fucking spell half the shit that he's trying to fucking pronounce. So the thing with Ronnie is that I think he believes that he is some type of fucking savant, and he does not have the education nor the discipline in order to match that type of label. Right. And for me, and we've debated. Actually, the Talking Shit Tuesday that I left, we were actually debating his motives and what's going on in his mind, because you never know. I think that this is a facade. What he does here is something to make him feel better about his life, and so he can come on here and pretend to be this fucking biochemist, fucking theist for Jesus, and do and say whatever he needs to do, and puff up his fucking ego. Sure,
it's like a kid saying, "I've always wanted to be an astronaut," and then you grow up going, "Now how am I going to do this? I am scared of the dark. I'm claustrophobic.
I did see a show on,
and I hate touching other men. How the hell am I going to be an astronaut?" As you get older, you realize. And I think Ronnie was like, "I always wanted to be a." It was like what's his name off Seinfeld. Kramer. No, Kramer. Okay. No, it was George. George always wanted to be an architect. Yeah. And that's where, you tell everybody he's an architect, and that's Ronnie. Ronnie's kind of like the George Costanza.
The toothpicks fall on the floor in the restaurant, and Rain Man says 147. Well, fuck no. Actually, Rain Man, there's 380 there, you fucking dummy.
Yeah, like Ronnie just, I hear him ramble. They call him Rambling Ronnie, and when you watch it, it's just, you go, yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's scientist Sam and I. We have each other on Facebook and whatnot, and so we chat about stuff that's going on in science. But more so, we'll laugh at Ronnie, and that's kind of been our little pastime. That's our special time that we spend laughing at Ronnie. Well, and so he'll kind of give me a little sneak preview to a video that he'll make and ask for a little input here and there on it. And so it's always funny to see what he comes up with, because he is so horrible at trying to articulate himself, because he relies simply on memorizing certain units within biochemistry in order to use it as jargon bombing later in his discourse.
Well, I've seen Science Sam absolutely infuriated one day. He did like a 3-minute video where he's like, "This is wrong, you fucking idiot," and I'm going, like, in my head, I'm going, "But Sam, he's crippled, right?" Like, it's kind of like you're arguing with a guy who kind of is not all there. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. He's crazy.
Well, who is buying it? Who is buying this stuff?
G-Man. But G-Man, I don't know. What do you think of G-Man? Do you think he's like for real, or I think he's just? I watch him and I think he goes in there and destroys people's hangouts. He's great to watch when you're bored, but there's absolutely nothing you take away from it going, yeah, he won an argument or he's doing well. It's like watching a fucking mentally challenged kid,
And it is. It's sad, but he has something very personal against me. So he and I have a very, very long history. In fact, he sent me a message on Skype just yesterday making a war declaration. And here, actually, I'll read it out to you guys. You guys should enjoy it, get a kick out of this. Where is it? Just to give you the heads up, I underestimated your attempts to divide and conquer, so now I'll be very, very, very busy destroying what you have set up. It's war. And he spelled it's wrong, of course. But, so...
Three varies. Three varies. He's not fucking around.
No, that's Bugs Bunny angry.
Did you piss your pants a little bit when you got that?
Oh, man, let me tell you, I turtle-headed a few times.
But I thought you guys were cool. Like, I thought everything was cool.
We go through stages. Like, he'll be really cool with me when I put him in his place, and then he'll get fucking upset again once I point out something stupid he said, and it goes back and forth. But this time, two Christians who were in the room who were trying to get him to calm down and stop overreacting, pretty much... He set his sights on them because they ended up defending me inadvertently.
Oh my!
And so now he thinks that I have some evil fucking Sith powers where I've used a fucking evil version of the Jedi mind trick in order to, I guess, fool them into taking a stance to support me, which is really strange. But hey.
And him and Veckel are buddies, right? Him and that.
Oh yeah.
So they are. So is it kind of like whatever G-Man says, Veckel will back him up? It's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like both ways. Like if.
Not necessarily. G-Man will back anything that Veckel says, but Veckel is a bit more cognizant of what's going on and what's being said. Veckel does tend to hold back a lot. If the G-Man does say something stupid, Veckel will hold his tongue and try and change. He'll do one of two things. He'll try and change the subject, or he'll say, "Hey, G-Man, I think we probably shouldn't, say certain things like that," or he'll kind of, poke G-Man just a little bit to kind of let him know, hey, you're heading in the wrong direction and you're about to get fucking clotheslined by somebody in a few minutes. And he's been very careful just not to blindly follow G-Man anymore, because I think he's even starting to see that once G-Man goes, what we call full G-Man, you can't stop him.
Right. And that like, how do you take the war deck? Like, are you going to sit there and go, like, just ignore him? Or, like, because, I don't know, like, to me, it's kind of, I get loons all the time, and I think the best way is when you ignore them is when you drive them absolutely nuts, is when you ignore them. And he seems like the type of guy that, I don't know if it's an act, Drag. I don't know if it's...
Well, it's a bit of both. What we see on Google Plus is who he really is. But when you talk to him one-on-one and there's no audience, he is a different person.
Sure.
Every person you talk to who has spoken to G-Man on Skype in private will tell you that he is a different person once he doesn't have his camera on.
Sure. So it's all about the show.
It is. He enjoys the showmanship. He enjoys being in front of the camera, having attention. I don't think it's something that he gets normally. I really think that he is just kind of someone that's just relegated to the ranks of the fucking just, I don't know what you want to call him, just a pariah, for lack of a better term.
I think everybody wants their 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
And he feels very, hey, not even if you're hated, sometimes it's good to be hated because they're talking about you. If they're not talking about you, it's the worst. And I think he has that. If they're going to hate me, they're going to hate me for being a complete idiot or whatever. If I'm a villain, I'm a villain, but I'll make sure that they'll talk about me. That's what I get out of it.
Drag, a question for you. Who do you think is, describe for us the typical viewer or subscriber to G-Man? Or any of those decks.
Two types of people. There are two types of people who subscribe to G-Man. There are the theists that love G-Man because he's out there sticking it to atheists, and they love his energy, they love his persona, and they love him as a brother in Christ, and they're going to be there through thick and thin. They're going to fucking suck his dick through the monitor if they can. It doesn't matter. They are unshakable.
Right. And
then you have the atheists who view him because, let's be honest, it's like watching a minstrel show.
Yes.
And I've mentioned that to him. It's like you actually feel a lot of stereotypes. So people are watching you, especially non-theists, because you are a clown. Yeah. And I've called him that to his face, and he's become upset. And I was like, hey, it's the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat the fact that you are a fucking clown. And I don't have to, I've told him, I don't have to make fun of you anymore. I stopped making fun of you because all I have to do is let you speak. And that's enough for me.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of them are atheists. Like that Josh Feuerstein guy, however you say his last name. Josh Feuerstein or Feuerstein.
I think he's a scam.
Feuerstein, yeah.
He's just completely fucked. I mean, Starbucks? Really?
No, I think because they realize that the crazier you are, the more viewers you're getting. I mean, when I talked to Arn Ra about it, Arn Ra was like, I don't get how this guy has more subscribers than me. And it's simple. When you start, entertainment-wise, when you're sitting there talking about, molecular structure or whatever, people get bored easily. But if we're sitting there and G-Man comes on and starts going, Fiona, blah, 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 drag, go fuck yourself, drag, what did you say? You watch that, even though I've literally stopped washing dishes to listen to an argument because I'm just like, this is fantastic. Where he thought I don't know the guy's name, but see the guy, no one knew that the other guy, I don't think G-Man knew that the guy was black, and the guy kept using the N-word.
Okay.
And this guy had like a cartoon voice. He had a really unique voice. And he kept saying, G-Man, N-word, G-Man, G. And G-Man's going, you're calling me the N-word? And it's like, when two black guys call each other the N-word.
Yeah.
Well, G-Man didn't know that the guy was black. So the black guy was calling him the N-word, but like G-Man was thinking he was calling him like racial, like I would think
like the pejorative. Yeah, I think you're talking about Stizor.
Did
he sound English?
No, he talks like he's kind of like he has a weird kind of a cartoon. He talks like one of the guys off of Fat Albert. Like he's got a really weird voice. And he was trying to calm G-Man down, and I remember just stop because G-Man's like, he starts looking around. Because I remember looking at the monitor, and I'm thinking, what is he doing? And he's literally looking around the room, and I'll stop. I'll go, what is he doing? And I realize that this is his way of, start an argument. It's like me and you, if we just sat there and we started just arguing, people are going to listen.
Yeah.
People are going to go, what are they fighting about? And we could be fighting about anything.
It doesn't matter.
People enjoy it. Now, if we're sitting here talking about, the
hybridization of, fucking, of valence electrons,
right?
And, stuff like that. People aren't too interested in that. But let me start talking shit about G-Man, and he'll pull in like 50 viewers. And I've actually tested that, and it's true. People don't want to sit through dry chemistry lessons, and talking about stupid shit like that, but.
I know he's the show, but here's the problem. It's like a show that's gone on too long.
Yeah.
It's like watching The Simpsons. You're like, I love The Simpsons. But after a while, it's like you're watching it going, they've completely run out of fucking stories.
Yeah.
And I can't watch it with my kids anymore because it's too, you take season 1 or till about 10, it was pretty tame. Pretty tame. And then now, you've got Homer sitting on the bed with the devil going, what's the safe word? And it's not, it's too old. And now when I see G-Man, it's kind of like, oh, fuck, I kind of know what this guy's routine is. So it kind of, after a while, it's like anything. It's like a comet where you go, oh, no way, this is new, this is amazing. And then it dies out, That's what a G-Man is. And then now he's going to, come up with something where, he'll threaten drag, he'll get on a Google Plus, he'll argue, and people will watch. But he knows that it's important that he act like a buffoon, and that's what people want to see. They want to see, it's like you ever see the old saying, send in the clowns. That's a G-Man. If there's ever a conversation going shit, you just yell out, send in the clowns. G-Man jumps out of a little mini, him and Veckel, and they start talking, and you just sit there and go, okay, I am, I'm not bored anymore. Let the stupid begin.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we're trying to capture. Another atheist and I, Steve McRae, who's actually he's a vet as well, and he was a nuclear technician in the Navy back in the day, and so he and I were thinking about trying to start our own little series and just mirror the videos on each other's channels about science, about chemistry. And so we're trying to find a way to make it not so dry, because a lot of it, like when we get to like the basics of what an atom is and dimensional analysis and shit like that, it's really hard to make that funny. So I'm thinking about maybe doing one of my voices, because I used to do a character called Taste Tea, which was a parody of someone else. And just try and make it entertaining so people can learn and people can also get a good laugh at the same time.
I'll tell you, I know which voice you're doing, and it goes. Sometimes you talk. Do the voice for a second. I'll tell you who it is.
Oh, are you talking about Tasty? Oh, Tasty loves talking to folks, honey, because she come in those chat rooms with those folks on G Plus, and she just the talking. And it's to look for Miss Jefferson over here somewhere, because Tasty loves Miss Jefferson.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking of some other. You do another voice of a guy who sounds like he's got like a necktie around it and just.
The Oucher Owl voice kind of sounds like Eeyore.
Yes. Yes, that's the one. I remember I had fucking chocolate milk come out of my nose when I'll sit back and watch the show, and I made the mistake of drinking when you did that voice. I know what you mean by, yeah, of course you want to throw those in, but you got to sit back and look at it, and if you want to make it interesting, I would. I love Oz. I've had him on. We've had Oz. He made us look like complete and total idiots, which we are.
Not hard.
He does that.
But here's the thing: if you just tighten it up and make it smaller, which it's hard because when he's explaining something, he needs to take his time. You can't do it in one sentence. You can't explain the moral or there's things that take a long time to explain. They have to, okay? Or else you're just going to have questions after. And that's the problem when the types of problems that you're trying to solve can be incredibly boring. That's why when people, when they don't want to think about religion, when you ask people about religion, they just skip about it. They're like, they rather worry about, the next, going to work or whatever. The only time they think about religion is when, a loved one has passed or something, that's the only time.
Something traumatic happens, yeah.
Yeah, that's the only real time. So when you're trying to talk about subjects that are kind of boring and people are kind of scared of them, I remember talking about religion the first time openly with people. It was kind of like a subject you didn't want to talk. You didn't want to.
Yeah, if you're sitting in a public place in particular, you're kind of looking over your shoulder the whole time.
Yeah.
You don't know who's going to and how they're going to react to
yes.
it. I rarely talk about religion while I'm at work and while I'm at school. And I even tell my family members, and I'm very disrespectful of them, but I tell them that I don't think a lot of you are mature enough to have conversations about religion.
Right. Yeah, right.
Because they're very, very petty people. And if they start asserting things that are very, very fallacious, I'll mention that and say, hey, what's your stance? Actually very fallacious. And then I'll try and go and explain why. And, they don't care. They have, just complete disregard for actual logic, and reasoning. And so that bugs the shit out of me. And so I'll just avoid talking to certain folks unless they show that, they have the maturity to handle the conversation. But to talk about Ozzy, because I actually told I told the guys in the Talking Shit Tuesday external chat that I'm going to, over here talk to you guys. And Ozzy's like, oh, yeah, I listen to that. So Ozzy does listen to it.
No, I know.
As well being a guest. But I've told him that when he starts talking, I grab the lotion because,
I told Mark, I said, Mark, I wish I had a joint.
Well, you can't shut off. You got to pay attention, or you'll get fucking left so far behind.
Yeah,
and you can't get back.
But
anymore.
I love getting left behind because then all of a sudden I just kind of go, "What the fuck happened?" Like how did we end up here?
You did time travel.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm on this magic carpet when he goes off, and it's just like it's kind of like when you were a kid, you'd watch Mr. Dress Up.
Yeah.
And you remember the beginning, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Okay, goodbye."
Yeah,
you're kind of like, "What just happened? What did we make? What puppet? Where's Casey?"
I got to bring up this video I saw today with because we were talking about people not mature enough to handle that conversation. 16-year-old kid tells his mom in the kitchen. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
And he tells his mom he's atheist, and she loses her fucking shit. She's Christian. She starts swearing, "We got to go to church more." Like the kid just told you. Told you.
No,
he's
she said you.
And then she says, "Well, you know what? You're not getting a goddamn thing for Christmas because Christmas is all about Jesus."
Yeah,
and the kid's going, "Okay, that's fine."
I know, but that is the way people have been brought up, where you don't dare question, you just do.
Yeah.
You just do. I remember being a kid, you never question. You never question that sort of thing, and it's sad when you watch those sort of things. You just think, oh, the kid's trying to, better himself, trying to expand his mind, and the mom goes and shits on him like that.
Well, yeah.
Like my daughter, who's very young, she'll ask me, "Hey, do you believe in God?" And I say, "Sweetie, I don't," because she knows I listen to these shows, and she always hears somebody. I always watch. I watch Oz all the time. Not the prison show, like I'll watch Oz talk, and she'll go. She catches what he says, and she'll say, "Do you not believe in God?" And I go, "No, sweetie, I don't. If there was any proof, I would." And then she goes, "Well, I believe in him." And I go, "Okay, well, I want you to look at it rationally, and I want you to question and stuff. I want you to, I'm not going to sit there and say, no. She's at an age where, she believes in Santa Claus and stuff like that. So I'm like, I don't want to completely, say there's no Santa. She's a little kid. So I just, I'll go along with it. But I want her, to have that realization when you get a little older, you start seeing things and you question things.
It's great advice for any subject, really.
Yeah, I want her to learn for herself. I don't want her to end up like fucking Matt Slick, disowning a child or, thinking this is the way or,
And that's sad, that. And I remember when Matt Slick's daughter did the interview, I think on Pathos, and just, kind of reading over what was said and what was asked. I was just like, how could you do that? Like, people literally have their children go missing and never see them again. And so your religious beliefs would cause you to disown a child and pretty much do the same thing. So you might as well be dead, in that instance. And so it's that to me just shows how fucking repugnant of an individual he is on a personal level.
Yeah.
And I can't respect somebody who would willingly do that.
Oh, I know. And she's a smart girl. Like, I only saw the video that you're talking about, but she seems like a rational person. She's not a cokehead. She's a beautiful person. Like, I don't know. Maybe she, you don't. But the point is, if that was my daughter and some book told me that, that she's damned and I were stupid enough to believe it, I would feel like a fool.
Yeah.
I would feel like, how much time have I wasted not hugging my child or talking to her? I mean, this is a child I brought into the world. I mean, God didn't do it. You fucked your wife, you idiot. You had sex. A baby showed up, and it's your job to take care of her and love her and nurture her. Instead, you instill this bullshit belief on her. And even if you believed it, that's if I believe something, if my kid said, "Dad, I believe in God," okay, I'm not going to disown her. I'm not going to, fuck, I don't care. You're my kid,
Yeah.
That's what I don't get. Like, I feel like smacking the shit out of them. Like, dude, wake up. Don't be a fucking weasel. Be a man. Love your child, which I don't get, Drag. It just, and we're atheists, and we, like, if I was a Christian guy, like one of those eggnogs on the Bible wing nut, like Tim Dim over there, I would say to him, I would just sit there and go, "Hey, dude, I know we believe in this book, but it's your daughter. Go and love her."
Yeah, you gotta toe the line, though.
If you want to be a Christian, a real Christian or whatever, go love your child.
Yeah, they gotta follow along. They gotta follow suit.
They have such a weird idea about how the world works, and especially relationships. And just, I was listening to the Bible Thumping Wingnut talk to, who was it, Scholar Fiction, and explaining, his belief about babies being, I think, doomed from the womb.
Yes,
or something like that.
Yes.
And I was kind of watching his body language, and there's just no emotion at all. His demeanor was just completely just flat affect, and it's disturbing to know that people like that exist, but have kids.
Yeah.
And so that's what really bothers me.
But I think
and
Skylar
want to take moral high ground.
But did you see how Skylar, I think, got to him? Because I love how he just said, "You don't really believe that, do you, Tim? Where a child that, a baby deserves to burn in hell?" And Tim's like, "Yes." I mean, did you, like, it was kind of, it was like really disturbing. It was like watching the ending of an evil, like a movie, and the evil guy explains how evil he really is.
That'd be something badass that you would see in a movie.
Yeah, and
holy fuck, this guy means business.
Yeah, like I'm sitting there going, I would never have this fucking loser anywhere near my kids. Like he's nuts. to sit there and say those things.
And do you think in practice, like, do you think that they'd actually go through with the weird shit?
No.
Do you think in practice? I don't think so either.
I think they're like, if you were to sit there and say to me, I don't talk to my kid, and I go, why? And you say, well, she doesn't believe in the Bible. I would say, Mark, so how long have you not talked to her? Well, 5, 6 years. You haven't seen her Christmas? No, I don't talk to her at all.
Right.
I don't talk nothing. Well, is she a drug dealer? Like, what, is she in jail? Or what is, like, is she a hooker? What, a crack whore? What's wrong with her? No, she just doesn't believe in the book that we read together. And I'll just go, Mark, it's her child. Yeah. Like, I understand the book says this, but it's
that's you, though.
We all have emotions. We all. How can you not long for your child?
That's you, though.
Once my kids are home, I can't stand it. But once they're at school, like, I've wakened up my son from his sleep because I just love playing with him. I just, wake, get up, we're gonna play Lego, and it's just, and
well,
I
that's not
can't,
right either.
No, that is selfish on my part.
Wrong with you.
Yeah, I'm totally a selfish person. But to me, if you've got a child, and what what Drag was saying, where there's kids that have gone missing that people have never even seen again, that would die to see their child. Would literally die to see their child again.
And to choose not to do it is
yes,
that's the ultimate wrong.
Yes, that is the ultimate wrong. I think something is mentally fucked with you if you cannot see past a book.
Drag, do you think a lot of times I'll see Matt Slick and he'll just be sitting there, but to me it seems like he's always seething, like he's always fucking angry about something.
Well, he's a midget.
I think a lot of it is his theology is tied to his personality, and he's a bit of a narcissist, and so when you see him, he's just kind of scheming. It's like he has a schemer posture to me.
Yeah. He looks like a car salesman.
Picked up on.
Yeah.
He reminds me of a fucking car salesman that hasn't sold anything, and he's just dying to make a deal.
Who's the bad guy on Inspector Gadget? Mad Cat or whatever the fuck?
Mad Cat.
Dude, Mad Cat's the cat.
The Claw?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
No, you're giving him too much credit. He is a little. He looks like. Doesn't he look like King of the Hill?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So yeah, he looks like a fucking weirdo. So yeah. Anything you want to? I know you're a big gamer. What? I'm not a big gamer. I kind of wish I was, but just not my thing. What game? What do you? What is a gamer?
My definition of a gamer is that someone who, just enjoys either casually or professionally playing various video games, and that you can take that definition and run with it. Because my wife has a bit of a different definition. My definition would primarily include consoles like PS4, Xbox One, and of course PC, the PC Master Race. But my wife is almost exclusively a handheld gamer, and so I grudgingly acknowledge her gamer attribute.
I'm a console guy myself, although since my son moved out and went to college, I don't get a lot of gaming. And what are you playing right now that's good?
You know what? I am really interested in the Division that's coming out, the Tom Clancy game.
Okay.
Currently, I've been playing Destiny, but that's I'm about to fucking toss that in the trash in a minute.
Well, is that a part 3 or something? Destiny, or is that brand new?
Destiny is it's been out for a little over a year. Actually, probably longer than a year. Bungie made it, same guys who made Halo. So if you love Halo, if you played Halo, it'll feel very, very familiar.
Okay.
It's just imagine Halo with the powers from Mass Effect, and you have Destiny.
Oh wow! Well, see, that would be fucking way too much for me. In Halo, I had too much trouble dealing with all the. Not too much trouble, but there's enough weapons and shit going on in Halo. I didn't need weird shit like that going on too. I would think, anyways. I'm kind of limited with my skills in that way, but me and the boy would play Resident Evil 4, which I don't think they made a good one after that. Did you ever get into that?
I haven't played any Resident Evil since years, almost 10 or more years ago. I've acknowledged that they exist, and that some of them have been fairly successful, but just not really my genre of game, honestly.
When I play the boy and he's beating me because he just loves video games. He goes nuts for them.
Yeah.
He knows this shit, which absolutely blows my mind.
And they won't tell you either. They won't tell you how to do
Well,
stuff.
he giggles and stuff, and I'm like, how do you do that move? And he just laughs.
Yeah.
And what I do is I turn off the TV and just leave. Like I hate losing, especially to a 7-year-old. So
yeah.
Anyway, Drag, do you got anything you want to plug, like a YouTube page or anything you want to plug?
I'm all about networking and trying to get other people's pages out there. Like I'll mention my Patreon in passing. The money generally goes to charity. If I don't spend it on a charity that I see, I'll probably buy ice cream for my son and myself. My wife doesn't get any. And so
that doesn't make you a bad person.
If you are into Flat Earth seems to be the new fucking thing.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's sad. But Redline V8, Redline, you'll see him around me. You'll see him sometimes on Talking Shit Tuesday. Redline, and then space VEIGHT, I believe. He has 2 channels, Redline V8 and Red's Rhetoric, and he does these wonderful debunking videos of Flat Earth, and he uses math. He has a guy, I think, in Sweden named Houseway that helps him with all the graphics and stuff like that. Very well done. A lot of high energy, a lot of humor. Fuck it. I love the dude. I've met him in person before. We had IHOP. And so definitely go check out Redline's channel. If you want some philosophy, Floyd FP on YouTube. Ozymandias, he is long-winded, but he's a good fucking guy and well-worth patience. If you're not a fan of Talking Shit Tuesday, please, watch it. If you don't fucking like Talking Shit Tuesday, you think it's stupid, let us know. Tag us and say, you know what, fucking JD Dragnauct fucking change the shit. It's fucking stupid. We want live chat, whatever. Any criticism is good. And of course, I'll plug my own channel. I try to do more videos, but I've gotten into the habit now of doing videos and then not uploading them because I'm like, I don't like it. And so I'll just do live hangouts. And so if you subscribe to me, you'll probably catch me doing a live hangout in the middle of the day. So, and that's primarily for people who are working throughout the day and they just want something to listen to that's fairly funny, fairly informative, and they just want to hear some banter. And so, that's there for people who want to. And I'm definitely not opposed to any criticism. If I got something wrong, if I misspoke, please fucking correct me. I'm not one of these people who are going to sit in the fucking ivory tower and get upset because someone corrected them. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to benefit other people and myself.
We ask people all the time to comment on the stupid shit we say, and nobody ever does, so we must
No,
always
we
be
do.
right.
I told you, like, I got some weirdo. I made the mistake of letting comments slide.
Yeah.
And because I was just saying, okay. And there was a cuckoo guy that was just absolutely, he would leave these long-winded, I thought it was smart shit, but it was actually just gobbledygook.
Yeah.
And it made absolutely no sense. And then he would say stuff like, at the end going, okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Lonely.
Yeah.
I'm so
and I'm
lonely.
sitting there going, oh, fuck.
All right.
But thanks so much, Drag. And just real quick, Brett Keene sucks. Go on, Mark.
We really appreciate you hanging out with us. This has been great. I admitted to you before the show I didn't know you. I'm certainly glad to have met you. This has been a good time, and we really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us. For the Wrecking Crew Comedy Podcast, I'm Mark Arts.
I'm Vito D'Amico.
And we've been talking to Dragnauct Sylvas, and have a good night, everybody.
And Brett Keene sucks.
Oh, yeah.